Perfect, perfect. One last second. Sorry, guys, they just disappeared. Okay, we can get started anyways. So it looks like we have everyone here. I'll just do a roll call really quick. Is Children's Hospital of Philadelphia here?
Yes.
Perfect. Penn State Children's Hospital?
Yes.
Perfect. University of Virginia, Charlottesville?
Yes.
Here.
And then, sorry if I mispronounced this, but the Lehigh Valley Health Network?
Lehigh. Yep.
Lehigh. Okay, that was my gut, but I was like, we'll just go phonetically. But glad you guys are here. And then Sinai Hospital, are you here?
Yep, here.
And then Tufts Children's Hospital.
Yep, here.
All right, perfect. So everybody's here. Introductions really quick. My name's Chip Faust. I'm a fourth year at Kansas City University Joplin campus. I help run the Instagram page for Future Peds Res, and I'll be the moderator and recorder for today. Essentially, how this will work is that every group will get 5 minutes to speak. I'll give you guys a 2-minute warning. I apologize in advance if I end up interrupting you accidentally. And then hopefully by the time we end everything, we'll have some time for questions. But if not, everyone will get pulled back to the main room, and then there will be the breakout session with the residents. Does anybody have any questions? All right, hearing none, we can start with Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. So Children's Hospital, you have 5 minutes.
Hi, welcome. My name is Janine Ronan, and I'm here with Dr. Adelaide Barnes, Gia Yannikis, who is one of our chief residents, and Dawn Young, who is our coordinator for recruitment. We're very excited to welcome you. As mentioned earlier, CHOP is a very large residency program in the beautiful city of Philadelphia, the 6th largest city in the country. And we are really excited in that our goal is always to train outstanding pediatricians that are going to become physician leaders in a variety of areas, whether it's clinical medicine, research, medical education, quality improvement, patient safety. And the way we do this is we have incorporated the X+Y block scheduling. We have opportunities for you to do a lot of personalized curriculum through longitudinal individualized education units. And we are also really proud of our commitment to the Philadelphia community, as well as our advocacy curriculum that residents engage in throughout all 3 years. We also have a lot of opportunity for you to get involved in leadership opportunities through our Resident Leadership Council. In addition, we also do a lot to support wellness and well-being through our own programs, licensed social worker who functions in the role as a resident support specialist to help residents with professional coaching and wellness initiatives. We do sponsor several specialized tracks in global health, the physician scientist training, including accelerated research program and the integrated research program. We have a child neurology program, as well as combined pediatrics, medical genetics, and combined internal medicine and peds. I think over the last few years, we've continued to really grow our community engagement. And Philadelphia is a very diverse city with a variety of patient populations. We're centered in West Philadelphia, and both West Philly and South Philly, we provide primary care to those children, as well as being the place that they would go if they needed to be admitted to the hospital. But also based on our location, we get people from the whole tri-state area, from New Jersey, Delaware, rest of Philadelphia, and we have in rest of Pennsylvania. And we also have multiple very specialized programs that attract patients from all over the country and actually from all over the world. We're really involved in community. Recently, residents work in the homeless health centers. We've been involved. We've had some changes due to COVID. So we've been doing a lot of parenting classes. Just earlier this weekend, plane full of Afghani refugees landed in Philadelphia, and we were involved in doing some screening at the at the airport to make sure everyone was safe and to screen for COVID. And that was something that literally within 6 hours, we had a whole squad of people going there, from residents, attending physicians, and everyone else. So I think we're really proud of a lot of the things we're able to contribute to the community. A few other special things that we do offer is we have an advanced skills program, which allows residents to kind of take deeper dives into areas of interest, whether it's medical education, research, health equity, health policy, point of care ultrasound. So it's a great opportunity to really kind of take a deeper dive into some of those areas. We also do offer point of care ultrasound for all of our residents to get involved in. We actually have our own machine just for resident use to really be able to use from training and education purposes. We're very focused on, is that the 2-minute warning? I'm gonna have Adelaide talk a little bit about some of our diversity initiatives. So I want you to also have a chance to hear from her.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us today. We have a fantastic Multicultural Physicians Alliance that's a resident-led organization that fosters community amongst the faculty, fellows, and residents that are within the underrepresented in medicine community. We also have a new organization called Pop at CHOP for our LGBTQ plus population that was also a resident-led organization that really not only fosters community amongst faculty, trainees, and other staff members who identify as LGBTQ plus and their allies, but also implements making sure that we are treating our patients and attending to their parents in the most culturally effective way possible. And those are only a couple. I wish I could say more about all of the initiatives that we have, but I will say that CHOP is a fantastic residency program. I'm a graduate of the CHOP program. We are a family. I know we're a large program, but we really do foster a community of inclusion. And we really do take the resources and opportunities that we have, align them with the talents and the passions that you have to build a really strong foundation for your future career. So we're excited to get to know you a little bit more, and please feel free to reach out and ask any questions.
All right, thank you, guys.
You muted yourself, Chip.
Sorry about that. Let me just fast forward a little bit. Up next, we have a Penn State Children's Hospital. Penn State, whenever you're ready, you have 5 minutes. I'll let you guys know when there's 2 minutes left.
Thank you, Charles. Good evening, everyone. I'm Aaron Shedlock. I'm the Residency Program Director at Penn State Health Children's Hospital. Just like Dr. Bradley mentioned earlier, I also have 3 kids that I sort of feel and hear bursting at the seams, so I'm praying for 5 minutes of peace. But if you see a little one run through, they tend to be at their highest energy at 8:23, right at bedtime on the East Coast. So at Penn State Health Children's Hospital, we're located in Hershey, Pennsylvania, which is about 10 miles south, or I should say east of the state capital of Pennsylvania in Harrisburg, and about an hour and a half north of Baltimore and an hour and a half west of our friends in Philadelphia. And our children's hospital is relatively new. So it was built in 2013 and then just recently expanded in 2020 and has about 150 private beds. And one of the unique things about it is we have an intermediate care unit, which only exists in about 15 to 20% of all children's hospitals. And rather than having to wait for your PICU rotation to care for things like DKA and children's with trach and vents, you can take care of them on day one on your inpatient rotation because they go to an intermediate care unit, which is staffed by multiple different services. We've got 200 faculty and over 20 academic divisions, allowing us to take care of a lot of patients. And we draw from a wide range of patients from central Pennsylvania with a lot of different acuities as well as diversity, ranging from inner city places like Harrisburg, all the way from very rural communities like the Amish community in Lancaster. If I would like you to remember one thing about our residency program, I'd like you to think about the individualization and individualized curriculum. We're a smaller to medium-sized residency program. We have 16 residents per class, and that allows us to be very tight-knit, but also to be able to pour the time and resources into really individualizing the experience for all of our residents. About a third of all of your residency here at Penn State is customizable. So we've got 42 weeks of electives. And we also have the department paying for FTE or buying out clinical time for 7 of our coaches and mentors, as well as someone who is the director of individualized curriculum who sits down and helps residents to set goals and form their individualized learning program to really customize their experience throughout the entire residency. We very purposefully avoid tracks because we've learned over the years that residents are, interested in doing multiple things, not just, necessarily kind of focusing on one thing. So if you kind of look to the right side of the slides and you see our curriculum, we've got, residents that use that the individualized elective time to dive into things like residence as educator, rotations and experiences, as well as advocacy and physician scientist programs and health system science scholar programs, QI, patient safety. There's a lot of different things that you can do here. And we really pride ourselves by being able to sort of individually support each resident and figure out how they want to carve their path through this residency program. And I'm very proud of all of our residents who have taken the opportunity to do very unique things through that way. A couple other things I wanted to highlight really quickly is we have something called the Woodward Center for Health Sciences Education. It's a pretty unique thing that basically is a bunch of experts in medical education across the institution that do things like retreats and teach courses and have longitudinal opportunities for residents to kind of get extra experience in things like being a physician educator. So we have a couple of residents that take advantage of some of the programs there. And one thing that they started to do last year is allow residents to obtain a master's of education during your second and third year if you are interested. And I do have one of my residents who's a current third year and a rising chief resident who's currently also has the time to do a master's of education courses in the evenings on top of all of that. Last but not least, I'd just like to mention that we have a lot of really exciting diversity initiatives going on. We have a Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Academy, which puts on, it's an institutional academy that puts on different courses for our residents, and most recently on how to provide inclusive care to the LGBTQ community, as well as our African-American community. I send 2 resident delegates to the SNMA and the LMSA every year to sort of interact with our medical students to try to provide great outreach to our community. We've got a network of underrepresented residents and fellows that provide unique mentorship, as well as social activities for residents in our community. And just new and actually too recent to have in these slides that were submitted a little while ago, the pediatrics department recently selected a vice chair of diversity, and who put together a diversity council for which myself and 2 other residents sit on. And we're very excited about all the different things that that's also going to bring to our community and our department. So I really appreciate the opportunity from APPD and ComCEP and Future Ped Reds to speak tonight. And I really encourage you to follow us on social media. You can see below, and please check out our website. I'd be absolutely happy to answer any questions that you have, and hopefully look forward to reading a lot of your applications during interview season. I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys so much. Up next, we have University of Virginia in Charlottesville. So whenever you guys are ready, you've got 5 minutes, and I'll let you guys know when there's 2 minutes left.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'm Lisa Hainstock. I'm one of the APDs at UVA. Barrett Barnes, our program director, is also on the call here. He's waving right there. I moved to Charlottesville 9 years ago, and I was born and raised in the Midwest, as Barrett was also, and never would have predicted I would have stayed here this long, but I'm a lifer now in Charlottesville, Virginia. So that speaks to the charm of the city and the gem that it is. A few things I wanted to highlight about Charlottesville and this program. We have this Wednesday school, which is 1 afternoon per month. That is protected time for our residents to participate in didactic sessions. They essentially hand off their pagers to the attending or whoever is a subspecialist covering the service. And they have hands-on sessions where they can learn things like lumbar punctures, casting, things like that. Barrett Barnes and I both have been the ones holding the pager on these days, and we're well versed on how this works and happy to do it. So it's a really great experience for our residents. We also have a home visit program, which is very unique. This was the first home visit program that was created in the United States, started back in 1995. So once a month, a group of residents go out to some of our families' homes with an attending physician, and they provide home visits with well child checks and immunizations, and get to see where our families live, what their home situation is like, and get to see the communities they serve in greater detail. It's been really a special experience for a lot of our residents. We also have some specialty tracks that I wanted to highlight. So we have a global health leadership track, which is a 24-month longitudinal track. It starts in the beginning of your second year of residency. You are able to participate in didactic sessions. You are able to do global health rotations. We've had residents go to Guatemala, all over the world, to learn about how other places, cultures live and work and provide medicine to those people. And then there's a clinical educator track that also begins at the beginning of your second year if you choose to participate. Again, these are only if you are interested, and they do not prolong your training at all. The clinical educator track also starts at the beginning of your second year of residency and is a 24-month long longitudinal track. We have monthly didactic sessions. We have quarterly journal clubs. You are paired one-to-one with a faculty mentor who will guide you through and help you participate in scholarly activities, attend regional and national conferences. And then at the end of the track, you present a scholarly project to sort of the group that you're with. In terms of Charlottesville itself, it's a medium-sized city, but has a lot of big city amenities. So some people might not really know a lot about Charlottesville because it's not a big city, but there are lots of things to do here. We're nestled in the Blue Ridge Mountains, so it's a beautiful place to live, beautiful commute to where you work. There's lots of things to do outside of work. So work-life balance, as we all know, is very important. Proximity to hiking. You can hike the Appalachian Trail within 25 minutes. You can be kayaking within 15 minutes. Mountain biking, whatever it is you want to do. If you're not an outdoorsy person, go to UVA, go attend a UVA sporting event. Lots of music events at JPJ. It's not all about just getting outside. It's a lot of whatever you need. And great restaurant scene here. I can tell you guys, like, I was shocked when I moved here. I had lived in Boston and Portland before I moved here, and I was blown away by the music scene, restaurant scene, and things to do outside, and just the ease of living. So really, I can't speak more highly about what it's like to be here. Our program, like I said, is a medium-sized program with 12 residents and 12 total residents, 11 categorical, and 1 neurology resident. If you want to learn more about our program, I think it's really hard. We're all virtual. It sort of feels weird. But as many of you also do, we have an Instagram page. Our Instagram has been going for like, what, Barrett, probably like 7 or 8 years. Yeah. It's been going for a very long time. So it's the real deal. You can see what our current and past residents are doing. Go to our website. We also have a video that we went through painstaking time to create last year. And we are happy to answer any questions that you have at the Q&A later. Anything I missed, Barrett?
Nope, you're all good.
All right, thank you guys so much. Up next, we have the Lehigh Valley Health Network. You guys have 5 minutes, and I'll let you know when there's 2 minutes left. Thank you.
Thank you, Chip. I'm going to get you to say Lehigh one of these years, I promise. So I'm Chris Rooney. I am the program director and the vice chair of education for the pediatrics department and the pediatric residency program at Lehigh Valley. We are located in Allentown, Pennsylvania, which is in the Lehigh Valley, which is made up of actually Allentown, Bethlehem, and Easton. And so the Lehigh Valley then is actually the 3rd largest metropolitan center in Pennsylvania behind Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. A lot of sort of similarities, I have to be honest, to some of the things that Aaron talked about with his program at Penn State. So I'll try to highlight the things that maybe are a little bit different as well. So probably the one takeaway point for us would be we are a smaller program. We do have 6 residents per class, and we do not have fellows. So I think that really does help us in our focus on education above service and the really close bonds that are able to be forged really early on between our residents and our faculty. And these are relationships then that really last for a lifetime, which is kind of a very cool cool thing about, our family and our program here at Lehigh Valley. When I say education above service, some examples that I'm talking about is, we have a lot of dedicated, protected educational time where residents have absolutely zero clinical responsibilities. They literally turn their pagers over to the attendings, and they have completely protected time to listen to their didactics and really learn. We do that Wednesday afternoons and then for an hour in most mornings. We also have Wellness Wednesdays, where 4 times a year the residents have the entire afternoon off to really take care of what their needs would be in their personal life, making sure that they can get to a doctor's appointment when they need to, or can visit, local friends or family, and be able to plan ahead and make sure that that can happen on a pretty regular basis throughout their training. The other cool thing about our program and our children's hospital is we're sort of like this perfect hybrid in my mind, because we operate very much under the principles of a large academic center. We've got 20 plus residency programs and fellowship programs. We're the regional branch campus for the University of South Florida medical students. So definitely operating under a traditional academic center model, but you get to do that and experience that in this very community hospital feel, where it just kind of feels like home, and you're providing care to the local community, and you get to really get your hands in the mix of helping with community initiatives and getting to really feel like you're a part of that community. The other things that I'll just point out real briefly, we do have a really great board pass rate. We have a really wonderful blend of about half of our graduates going on to do primary care and about half going on to do subspecialty fellowships in really the gamut of subspecialty pediatrics, and an incredible fellowship match rate really since the beginning of our program, which has been wonderful to see. We are in a great ideal location. Awesome outdoor activities, hiking, biking, fishing, skiing, and the whole 9 yards. We also have this really awesome growing downtown vibe in Allentown. It's definitely undergoing a revitalization, and lots of wonderful restaurants and bars and wineries and shopping, little boutiques that are popping up everywhere. So definitely a nice area to be a part of, either if you're a young adult or if you are a young adult with family. There's sort of opportunities for all sorts of living situations and phases of your life to be a part of. We do operate with a 13-block academic year, and we, like Hershey, have sort of the choose your own adventure curriculum. So you get a lot of individualized curricular planning with your mentor that, depending on what your specific career goals are, we can build and foster and choose rotations that are going to really optimize your chances of success in our program. So later in the resident Q&A, you'll get to meet my 2 chief residents. I think there was only room for 1 photo. So Julia Vandenhoevel is one of them. She's up there, but Katie Kunstman's also with us. So thank you to both of you for being here. And I'm going to let them talk with you a lot more when you guys break out into the student resident sessions. Again, definitely please follow us on our social media. It's by far the easiest way to kind of get to know the real vibe of programs in this era of virtual interviews. It's definitely a way that you can see the day-to-day life of our residents, as opposed to, just reading a website where it's kind of just a summary. So feel free to follow us on either Instagram or Twitter, or shoot me an email. I am happy to answer any questions y'all might have. And thanks for the opportunity to be here tonight.
All right, thank you guys so much. Up next, we've got the Sinai Hospital. So Sinai, whenever you're ready, you have 5 minutes, and I'll let you guys know when there's 2 minutes left.
Right. I'm pleased to represent our program this evening, along with our chief resident, Rajavi Panchal. Our program director is Dr. Sybil Pencil, who's an academic hospitalist. Now, Chris said her program is very similar to Penn State Hershey, but I'd argue it's probably even more similar to ours at Sinai in Baltimore. So we might also be one of those programs that you're not very familiar with. Sinai Hospital is the 3rd largest hospital in the state of Maryland, and it's the largest community hospital. We are located in West Baltimore, literally right across the street from Pimlico Racetrack, where they hold the Preakness every year. So you can practice medicine and watch some horse racing at the same time. In West Baltimore, we serve a underserved population. There's a large Orthodox Jewish community. And then we also pull from many counties around Maryland, even from southern Pennsylvania. Our program has 8 residents per year for 24 residents total, plus 1 chief resident. Like Lehigh Valley, that allows us to have a very close-knit program where we can give our residents a lot of individual attention. And that is one of the things that I would really highlight about our program. Our residents, I always say they can't hide, and that's a good thing. We really have close tabs on our residents. We make sure they're progressing nicely, receiving that individualized attention, mentoring, coaching in whatever areas they may need. Our program allows for excellent training in primary care and also all the subspecialties you can think of. We have just about every subspecialty at our hospital, and we also have close affiliations with neighboring hospitals that allow our residents to experience rotations elsewhere in the city if needed. Our residents, depending on the year, go into various proportions of primary care and fellowship tracks. So some years it's more primary care heavy and some years it's more fellowship driven. But like other programs, our residents do have the individualized curriculum where in their second and third years of residency, they work with a curriculum coach to design their electives that will help them in their future career development. Other highlights of our program include a strong continuity clinic experience. Our residents have a continuity clinic for a half day every week, and they really develop close relationships with their continuity preceptors and with their co-residents there in clinic. We have an advocacy elective, and even outside of that, many opportunities for advocacy within the area. There's a global health program that Dr. Pencil is very active with. We have wellness initiatives. We have an international medical graduate club to support our trainees who have come from other training backgrounds. We have a newer initiative called a publications club to really help our trainees and our faculty and everybody work together to do more academics and publications. We have a very strong board prep curriculum that gets started within the first few months of residency. And so we have our residents working on a certain number of articles and doing a certain number of questions per month. And we've been very successful with our board passage rate because of that curriculum. And we also have, as other programs do, the required scholarly activity project with a very dedicated scholarly activity committee to help our residents with that project. With the 2 minutes remaining, I'm going to turn it over to Rajavi briefly. But before I do, I just want to also mention our website is a great place for more information. And on our website, it will mention our upcoming virtual open house next week. So please also look out for that. And we're happy to chat more then. But Rajavi, I'll turn it over to you for some additional thoughts.
Thank you, Dr. Bradley. Hi, everybody. This is Rajvi, Chief Resident at Sinai, a product of Sinai Pediatrics. I will keep it short, but really like to take this opportunity to tell you guys what I really like about the program. I would say there are many things, and most of it Dr. Bradley covered, but some of the things that I really like would say we are a close-knit program. As you can see, we are a fairly small program, but that is something which provides very close-knit connection with each other. We are a family, it's like family home away from home. The other thing that I would like to mention is that our faculty is really very approachable. And I think that creates a really great and safe learning environment, which I have loved all these years. The other important thing I would like to mention is resident wellness. We do have a dedicated program, a committee for wellness, which includes a few residents. And I think it is really important to make residency a very memorable experience. IMG Club, which Dr. Bradley already mentioned, but that also gives another opportunity outside of the wellness where we can meet and greet and just get to know each other and share problems as well. In individualized curriculum. Dr. Bradley already mentioned, but that is something that I think provides a great opportunity to do away electives at other outside hospitals. You meet with your mentor. Every resident gets an individual mentor. You can choose your electives based on the future path that you want.
I'm sorry, guys, we're out of
Things
time.
to say,
Quick closing comments.
I will end it here, but please follow us on our Instagram page and you will see a lot more there. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys so much. Sorry to cut you off. We just got to get to our next program. Up next, we have a Tufts Medical Center. Tufts, you have 5 minutes, and I'll let you know when there's 2 minutes left.
All right, thank you, Chip. Hi, everybody. My name is Diana, one of the APDs at Tufts Children's, and our program director is Sarah Ross, and there's another APD, Jackie Boulay. We kind of span the specialties, so to speak. Dr. Ross is our director of the PICU. Jackie is a neonatologist, and I'm a primary care physician. So we really pride ourselves on being a small knit community program, kind of within a big hospital. And so we're located right in downtown of Chinatown in Boston. And so really able to connect with our community quite nicely. So let me go through the slide here on some of the highlights. So again, we are mid-sized, so about 13 residents per class. We have categorical residents, which is 10 of those 13. And then we have 2 triple board residents, which is doing combined child psych, adult psych, and pediatrics, and then 1 child neurology resident as well. And so in terms of our size, that really makes a nice learning environment. I was a product of our residency as well. I see there's a lot of people who kind of continued from where their training was, which is great to see. And I really like the small knit community. Being in a smaller size program, we're able to really customize the curriculum for you, just like a lot of the other programs of our size. It's easy for us to make everything pretty individualized, so we don't have tracks as well. It just makes it easier to make sure that you get what you want, and that we can help brainstorm if you want to go into a subspecialty that you've already done an elective in. How can we make it a different experience for you the second time around? Or how can we facilitate getting you to maybe going to a larger program across the street? So Boston Children's, a lot of our residents will go and experience what life is like as a fellow. And that's important for us because we can't offer all of that given we're a smaller size children's hospital. So that really small net learning environment is what drove me to be a resident at Tufts and is what kept me there as an attending. And I think collaboration, collegiality, those are 2 words that I usually use to describe the program to people when they're asking about what it means. And for me, I think our old name, so last year we changed from Floating Hospital for Children to Tufts Children's Hospital. And that floating name though isn't going to go away. And that comes from our history of being a ship. We were actually literally floating in the Boston Harbor over 100 years ago as the origins of our hospital. But we call ourselves the Floating Family, and that really kind of rings true. You will know everybody, and everybody will know you, whether you want it or not. And again, I think that's what brings a special vibe to our program. So getting back to that individuality piece, again, we have no real tracks, but the individualized curriculum has 9 electives spanned throughout the 3 years of residency, where you can really decide what you want to do with your time. We try to give you a lot of autonomy. And as I mentioned before, we don't have a lot of fellowships, but we do have some. But because of that, in places like the PICU, in places like hematology, oncology, you're going to be really working with yourself and attending at nighttime and getting to really build those skills in clinical decision-making with a lot of support and supervision, but also with those times where you get to make those decisions on your own and get to experience what it may be like to be a fellow or an attending. So those are really the 2 things that I think are most important to know about our program. Getting back to some of the details, again, we're kind of a larger academic center, but with this small community feel, we do have what we call a kind of a distributed academic model where a lot of our physicians and subspecialties will work in other smaller locations and with the connections to our community hospitals in the Boston region. Just about Boston itself, if you've never been here, I highly recommend it. We are a smaller city, or at least it feels small. Chinatown and Tufts Children's Hospital is conveniently located right on the Orange Line, which is our MBTA or the T. And so it's pretty easy to get out to the suburbs depending on where you want to live. So you can live right in the city or you can live a little bit farther away. In terms of our curriculum, some of the unique highlights. So we have protected time and an academic half-day model, which we've had since I was a resident. So we're in year 9 of that. That's on Wednesdays. And again, it's purely protected like you've heard from other programs. And we also have some morning report style conferences on some of the mornings that we do. One of the unique things that we have to support your scholarly efforts is we have a resident scholarly oversight committee who really helps you brainstorm what you may want to do with your scholarly work and gives you some feedback that's independent of what you may have thought of with your the person who's supervising you or helping you with that work. We have a night float system for the majority of our night calls, so you're going to be not really doing a whole lot of 24s outside of on Saturdays. And then another unique program is our clinician educator track, and that's combined with our internal medicine residents. And so there's 3 pediatric residents, 4 internal medicine residents, and that is a PGY2 and a PGY3 program. And we're excited to be in the 6th year of that. And then lastly, for diversity initiatives, we've got a lot of stuff up and running now, which has been exciting to be a part of. I have been trained as a bias reduction kind of trainer for a workshop that we just gave recently, which is exciting to expand that to the rest of our department and our hospital system. We have a resident-led diversity, equity, and inclusion working group that helps kind of brainstorm ways that we can help. And then we have health equity grand rounds, and we're in the infancy stage of a microaggressions project to help really identify where we can make the environment more inclusive for our learners and for our patients. So check out our website or our Instagram page, and looking forward to hopefully seeing you this interview season. Thanks.
All right, Tufts, thank you so much. So I'd like to thank all the programs for presenting today. We really appreciate you guys making yourselves available to all the candidates, especially with this virtual interview cycle that we're doing again this year. We only have about 10 minutes left. So just to make sure everyone gets another chance to speak, I thought we could run through the list one more time. If you guys just want to, in 1 minute or less, say what you think is the most unique thing about your program. And then just that way we can have everyone just kind of speak one more time, and we don't have to worry about not everyone getting a chance. So I believe Children's Hospital of Philadelphia was first. If you guys just want to say in a minute or less what you think is the most unique part of your program.
I think what's really unique is that we are in a very large hospital system. We have close to 600 beds. You're going to have the opportunities to see everything from your bread and butter pediatrics to some of the most unusual presentations and children that come in with several different medical issues that need to be addressed. And we do this in a way that is really oriented to supporting your learning, but also in a way that really creates like a family type atmosphere. I know a lot of the smaller programs definitely emphasize that, but I do think we can even accomplish that in a large program and being able to support each other through both all of your learning, but also for fun and wellness is one of our primary goals.
All right, thanks you guys so much. Penn State, if you guys want to really quick in a minute or less, just say what you think is most unique about your program.
Sure. In I guess addition to what I'd already talked about, I think one of the most unique things about our program is that we're a pretty large freestanding children's hospital, but we exist in a very sort of medium-sized town. As I mentioned earlier, we were in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and I spent a lot of my earlier years in bigger cities, and I have learned over time to really appreciate things like being able to drive to work and not sit in traffic, and not have to pay for parking, and live in a place that there's low crime, as well as the ability to have relatively affordable housing. A lot of our residents do buy houses or townhouses when they come here. So I was just going to add something different to what I'd already said, but I think it's kind of a unique situation here that I think is appealing to people who are looking for a little bit less stress than, the high city life.
All right, thank you guys so much. University of Virginia Charlottesville, just 1 minute really quick. What's the most unique thing about your program?
Yeah, so I think, like echoing kind of what I said earlier, when I moved here from some bigger cities, I was blown away by the amount of the acuity of patients I saw here, and also the diversity. So you might think, oh, Charlottesville, it's sort of a little gem of a city that's in the middle of Virginia, but we actually have a hugely diverse patient population with, I think, up to 30% of our patients speak Spanish. And we have, like I said, we're a resettlement center for refugees. So if you think you're going to start residency here and be not busy enough or not see the diversity, you are completely wrong. And you marry that with the beauty of this like beautiful city, easy commute, easy living. Like there's none of this, I can't have a car in the city because I live in Boston and it's a pain to drive from here to there, whatever it is. It's sort of like the best of both worlds. So Love my people in Boston. Oh my gosh, I'm not trying to offend you at all. I lived in Boston, loved it. Lived right across the street from Bugakyu and lived.
It is a pain. You don't have to hide it.
I loved it. No, I really did love it there. But it's sort of like a way to marry the two, sort of, in the best way possible. And yeah, that I think is a good way to highlight Charlottesville.
All right, thank you so much. Now, Lehigh Valley Health Network, if you guys want to give your 1-minute spiel on the most unique thing, that'd be great.
Thank you. Yeah, I think kind of picking up on where we just left off, we too, for a small program, really have such an awesome range of diversity of both our patient population, which literally ranges from sort of a downtown urban population all the way to the extremes of some rural populations that include some unique like Amish and Mennonite subcultures that really gets us a wonderful exposure to a wide range of pathology. The other thing that's nice about our program is, even though it's such a small size, we have all but like 2 of the subspecialties. Like, we don't have genetics and we don't have metabolic here in our children's hospital. And so I think sometimes when people hear, 6 residents per class, they're thinking, oh, am I going to have to do some away rotations? And no, nothing could be farther from the truth. We absolutely are, ironically, what's called a free-leaning children's hospital, which I didn't know was a thing. But apparently when one of your walls connects to a larger adult system, you're technically free leaning, even though your building is separate, except for the back wall. So that's unique as well. Last thing I'll say, just forgot to mention it when I was doing our slides, is really our wellness-based scheduling that exists throughout our training. So we actually don't have any shifts that are 24 hours, and we also don't have any Q blank call. Everything is either a night shift or a 1 week of nights, 3 weeks of days type of a system, which really allows the residents to kind of, I think, optimally learn in an environment where they are not feeling exhausted, not feeling fatigue extremes and things like that. So I think that's also pretty unique. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Sinai, you guys are up for 1 minute on what makes you guys the most unique.
Yeah, thank you. Our chief of pediatrics will always say that we are a hidden gem. We are a community hospital in Baltimore with also a strong academic presence. And we really are very well established in the community, and our patients are very dedicated to us and us to them. I think some additional highlights of our program are that, as I mentioned, that really close mentorship, the relationships that the residents develop with the faculty, because we don't have fellows, and that really enhances a lot of the opportunities that our residents have for case exposure, procedures, mentoring, etc. We are a very close-knit group. As Chris mentioned with her program, like ours, our residents see everything, and we have also almost every subspecialty at our hospital. And so there's no shortage of cases or diversity of cases that our residents will see. We have a lot of focus on the board prep, as I said, and a daily noon conference that is complete protected time for our residents. So there are no interruptions, and they are fully present for noon conference every day. So we're very pleased with our program. We think we have a lot to offer, and we're excited to get to meet a lot of you.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Tufts, you're up last for 1 minute. What makes you the most unique program?
All right. Thankfully, our slide has been up, so you can stare at that for an extra couple minutes. So I will not read what's on there, but just a couple extra things. So again, highlighting some places for individuality and trying to give you an experience that's meaningful. Our continuity clinic sites, for example, we have a lot of them. So a lot of our residents, about half, will be at our Tufts Children's Hospital General Pediatrics Clinic, but the other half at our different sites. So it can be a suburban private practice, an urban private practice, a community hospital with a primary care program based there, or a community health center. So we have a lot of options, and we really try to make that individualized for you. And then just our patient mix population is also pretty rewarding in my experience. A large proportion, at least half of our patients, are on Mass Health, which is Medicaid. And I get to regularly work with patients who are Chinese speaking, Vietnamese speaking, Portuguese speaking, Spanish speaking, Haitian Creole speaking. So we have a lot of kind of small subcultures within our network, which is really rewarding. And I think I'll take the last couple minutes to kind of highlight what Dr. Hainstock was talking about, where you really should be selfish to all the students out there, thinking about what is it about the program that you like, what is it about the place that you're going to be living that's going to be important for you. And this is the time to think about work-life balance and what that really means. So it's not just the details. You can go to a small hospital and be a great hematologist, oncologist, and you can go to a large residency program and be a great hematologist, oncologist eventually. So think about where you're going to jive well, and that's the most important thing on this journey. So good luck to everybody.
All right, thank you guys so much. In the last 30 seconds I have left, I just want to thank all the programs again for coming, all the applicants for listening in. I just wanted to apologize again when I interrupted any of you guys from my 10-minute things. It's not our intention. We just, as you can see, we have limited time. We just got to keep the things going. In the next 10 seconds, you guys will be yanked back to the main room, and then you'll be put in the resident Q&A section. And thank you all again for coming, and good luck on this application cycle.
Thanks, Chip.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Just say one final thank you to all of our programs for joining us tonight, all the program leadership.